First of all, since the beginning of time, man has always recorded damnation. Since you have been born till now, there's one thing that is very, very constant that you've been hearing, and that is that the world is going to come to an end. The world is going to come to an end. The world is going to come to an end. And a lot of people have been put in an emotional trap due to this particular sentence and due to this particular statement of the world is going to come to an end. Now, what does it really mean that the world is going to come to an end? What exactly is it that is going to come to an end? What is ending? Is a very good question for one to ask themselves. What really is ending? For when one does not understand what is ending, then it makes it that one is just in the dark. When you ask a person what is their observation of heaven, a lot of people believe that heaven is unique to their religious practice. Many people believe that heaven is a unique place that is in connection to whatever unique practices that they practice. And this then makes it that heaven is very subjective to an individual practice, apparently, because that is what it means. If heaven is subjective to your religious practice, then means that that name or that place called heaven is also subjective to an individual practice. Over the course of time, since you've been growing up till now, there is one word that you've heard constantly, and that is that the world is going to come to an end. But in which way is the world going to come to an end? If we really try to analyze this, let us look at it from the purview of analysis and see what does it really mean. Over time, men have recorded the destruction of the world. If you go into histories of times from the beginning till now, even in these early centuries till now, there are certain people that have said the world is going to come to an end, and they have put this fear so much so in the minds of people that people become so confused. People become so fearful as to, the world is going to come to an end. So what am I going to do? Let me sell off my property. Let me be this, let me be that. A lot of people come up with so many theories on what they should be or what they shouldn't be, because there is this world. And the irony of it all is that in every religious practice, everyone has a belief that one figure of their religious belief is going to come and save them. That is the irony. Now, let us look at this irony properly and see what is it that is being missing here. You see, the Buddhists believe that the Buddha is going to come back again and save them from the damnation of the world. The Christians believe that Jesus is going to come back again and save them from the condemnation of the world. The Shintoists of ancient Japan and the traditional practitioners of different places also believe in the same thing, that a particular savior that is unique to their belief or their traditional practice will be the one that will come and save them. The Hindus, also have a belief that the Kalki avatar, which is an incarnation of God will be the one that is going to come and save them. Again, if you look into the Muslim theology or the Muslim religion, there is also the belief that, they will be saved. There's someone that is going to come and save them. If we go back into the hand of time, back to ancient Mesopotamia, let us go back to ancient, Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt and all of that. There is also a belief in the ancient Mesopotamia, there's also a belief that Enlil is going to be the one to come and save them. Same also does the ancient Egyptians that believe that Horus will rise again and come and save them. Now, if you look at the trajectory of all of these saviors that has been recorded or that has been spoken about in time, what is it that is unique about all of it? What is unique about all of it is that every religion believes that a savior that is connected to their particular faith will be the one to come and save them. Every religion. And because every religion believes that a savior connected to their individualistic faith will come and save them, so anyone that is not connected to that religion is considered as what? Condemned. Am I making sense to you guys? Are you understanding me? We're having an introspection. Let us have an introspection. If you're not a Christian, if Jesus is coming back again, you are not going to be saved. You will only be saved if you accept him. If you are not a Buddhist, and if Buddha is coming back again, you are not going to be saved except you accept Buddha. If you are not a Muhammadan, which is a Muslim, when Allah comes back again, you are not going to be saved except you accept the faith of Islam. If you are not a Hindu, when the Kalki avatar comes back again, you will not be saved except you accept the traditions of the Hindus, which then brings a lot of confusion. So if you don't belong to a particular religious sect, then you are condemned to die. And it is only when you belong to a particular religious sect that you are not condemned. Which is funny, if you really look at it properly. It is very, very funny, because when you try to look at all of this and you try to find a common ground in it, there is no common ground. For every one of them is like, if you don't join us, you either join us or you will be losing. Every one of them. You either join us or you lose. And there is this thing that many humans have always believed about. When I was young, there was a lot of religious teachers and spiritualists, Christian pastors that made a lot of prediction about the world ending by fire, and there was so much fear and so much plague. There's so much fear that the people become so disorganized, they start doing so many things, all because they don't want to die. But there is one thing that humans are always forgetting. There was even a story that, in the fear that the world is going to end, some people started building underground houses in the bunkers. They were building underground houses because they think that the underground houses is what is going to save them, because they are believing that destruction is only going to be on top of the surface of the earth. It is not going to be underneath the earth. That is what they believed, and hence they did a lot of things. So now, but one thing has been recorded in a lot of the histories of the world. There is one thing that is connected. And in all the histories of the world, from different angles of the universe, it always says that the world was ended through water. It did not say that the world was ended or a condemnation came upon the world by fire. It always says, whether you go into the ancient Mesopotamian tablet, you go into the ancient Hindu text, you go into the ancient Egyptian, text, you go into the ancient Shinto text, the Zoroastrian, text, it always says that the world was condemned by water. And there are stories of this that are recorded in different parts of the world. And guess what? The delusion, when I mean delusion, I'm talking about water. I'm not talking about the other delusion, the water that has flooded the earth has been recorded even by the Mayans, by the Incas, by the Aztecs, by the Hindus, by the Africans, by the Egyptians, by all areas of life, by the Greeks, that the world was flooded with water. And now if you dig deep into the ancient histories of the world, it is not one time that the world was condemned by water. It is not one, it is not the second, it is not the third, it is not the fourth, but it is something that happens again and again and again. The water sweeps up everything on the face of the universe. And when it sweeps up everything on the surface of the earth, that water that sweeps up everything from the surface of the earth then stays for a particular numbers of time, and after staying for a particular number of time, starts receding backward. The first documented history of a world being condemned was by ice. That the earth got so cold that everything in the earth froze. That is the first recorded history. Now, where will you find this recorded history? You will find it only in the Venta Avasta. That the world was everywhere in the earth was what? Frozen. There is nowhere that it is written that the earth was engorged by fire. Only two things: frozen and water. Frozen and water. Now a question comes to the mind. If the earth gets engorged by water, and it is said, when the earth gets engorged by water, everything just stops functioning. Now, what happens to the aquatic animals that were already living in the water? I'm trying to explain something to you guys here for you to understand the theory of Darwin, that he speaks about how evolution starts. If everything in the world gets engorged by water, swallowed by water, so what happens to the aquatic animals, the deep whales that thrive underneath deep water? What happens to them? Do they also die? There is no history of that. How does the animals or the aquatics underneath the ocean, how do they die? You see, one of the things that a lot of us as humans we do is that we are so focused on the life, on the existence of life only within the human species. But we don't inquire into the existence of life. How does the whale the whale, the white whale or the sperm whale, how does it get old? And when it gets old, of what cause does it die? Does it die a natural death? In which way? How does this happen? What is the phenomenon that is surrounding that? Yes, death is present in the human society, but death is also present in the aquatic society. But how does death influence them? And that is what it means to be a thinker. There is one thing that a lot of us as humans always do, and that is we only focus about death in our human society. That is it. How does a tree die? A tree that lives up to 300 years, 500 years. How does it die? How does the stones, the rocks, how do they die? Because everything on earth experiences birth, experiences death. Death and birth is not limited only to the human body. Am I making sense to you guys? Are you truly understanding me? Birth and death is not limited only to the human body. Now, how does the stone die? What process does the stone pass through that it dies? How does the tree die? Of what natural source, of what natural way does the tree die? How does the aquatic animal? We know of how the dog dies. We know of how the monkey dies. We know of how the lion dies. We know of all of this. Yes, because it is within the periphery. It is within the periphery of our vision. But now what we don't know is, what about the whale in the ocean? What about the starfish in the ocean? What about the jellyfish that is down beneath a certain depth of the ocean? What about those animals that are beneath the depth of the ocean? How do they die? We know that creation, they also they produce offsprings, but then how do they die? You see, in the evolution of Darwin's theory, there's one key that is missing that humans never understand. Darwin says that life is an evolution, which means humans evolved from underneath the sea to be on the surface of the earth. This theory of Darwin, I believe it is borrowed from the perception. There are two things here. There is two reasons why Darwin said the human species of life is nothing but what? An evolution. There's two reasons. One reason is because when a soul or the sperm is deposited into the womb of the mother, it is in the form of an aquatic animal. That is a fact. If you look at the soul, which is the baby in the womb of the mother, it is in the form of an aquatic animal. A tiny tadpole that starts changing its sizes and all of that in the form of a little fish and all of that start, changing, and then it becomes a human. From this point perspective, does the Darwin theory speaks from. But now, how does it connect to a delusion? How does it connect to the world being condemned by water? How? Since time immemorial, there is always a record that the world was engulfed by water. Now, there are so many people that are so focused on wanting to build bunkers underneath the earth because they think that danger is only going to be on the surface of the earth, and underneath the earth, there is not going to be any danger. But if the world is going to be covered by water, doesn't that say that there is nothing that is safe? There is nothing. Yeah, there is nothing. So Darwin believed that when the world gets engulfed by water, the aquatic animals that are in the sea will be the one that will metamorphose and evolve to the human species and start the process of what? Of life again. That is the theory of Darwin. And if you look at it also, this theory is also corroborated. Some time ago, this one of my friend here, Mr. Gab, was telling me to look into a South African shaman. I'm trying to remember his name now. I've forgotten his name. But yes, he was quite recognized. It's an South African shaman. He's passed away now. He speaks a lot of things. I did went and look into his life, and he spoke a lot of things that if you look at it properly, there's some sense in it, and then some of them looks a bit far-fetched, but there are some sense in it. I'm trying to remember his name, but I've forgotten. If you guys can remember his name, please just put it in the comment section. I would like to hear. Now, this South African shaman, he says that there is a belief that humans evolved from the sea creatures, specifically the dolphins. Yes, Credo Mutwa. Thank you. He believed that humans evolved from the dolphins and the whales. And because he believed that humans evolved from the dolphins and the whales, this is in corroboration, because he said, in corroboration, that the world is going to be engulfed by water. And when the world is engulfed by water, humans, the species that you know now, will not be anymore. But then there's another transmigration of life that is going to start from underneath the sea, which is with the sea creatures that are there. The sea creatures that are there are going to start transmigrating and evolving and evolving and evolving, that they are going to evolve to be a human. And among this sea creature that is meant to evolve to be a human, he said, is a dolphin. Dolphins, he said, were the original ancestors of men. That is his words. And from this perspective, you can understand the theory of Darwin, because I believe his perspective is to corroborate the theory of Darwin. But now, if you take it one notch further, or one step further, and to really look at it from a different occult perspective, it is that in the whole histories of men, whether you go to ancient India, you go to ancient, whichever part of the world you go, there is always a narration that the world was engulfed by water, and there are 7 men that came from above, from afar, from across the sea, to come and start teaching people how to live life again. Which means that even though the world was engulfed by water, certain individuals were not engulfed. But now it took 7 men, other men, from different parts to come and start teaching. Now these 7 men became the 7 planetary deities that man has always worshipped. So what then is damnation? What then is that damnation that is being expected? If the world is going to end, it's not going to end by fire. No. If the world is going to end, it is going to end by the waters, the banks, the waters that is underneath the sea exploding and covering everything in the whole universe. Fire cannot cover everything in the universe, but water can engulf everything and hold it together within itself. There is a saying that there is more civilizations of men that has been buried underneath the waters of the ocean. Now, when we're talking about this, we're not just talking about it from a perspective of, some centuries ago there were people. No, you and I, again and again and again, there have been states, there have been countries, there have been nations, again and again and again, that have been passing through this process of delusion, whereby water comes and engulf everybody. Again and again and again and again and again and again. It's a thing that one passes through for a period of time. And then he says, that after the world has been engulfed by water, this is where the theory of the Bible came into the play. After the world has been engulfed by water and it stays like that for 1,000 years, then does the sun, S-U-N, start speaking with the other planet and says, let us start the creation of man and life again. And this is what happens again and again and again and again. So the condemnation is not just that which is being expected, it is that which the soul has always experienced. Now, there is something unique about the Hindu test. And this is one of the reasons why I align myself with it. There's something unique about the Hindu test, and that is, it speaks about the narration of Vishnu. There is an individual called Vishnu that is sleeping on a causal ocean. There is an individual called Vishnu that is sleeping on a causal ocean. Now, when we say the world is going to be engulfed by water, a lot of people right now, with our limited mind, we might try to start measuring, how is it going to be? Is it the waters of the ocean? How is it going to be? You must understand that there are 3 levels of water. There are 3 oceans in the whole universe. There is the ocean above, there is the ocean below, there is the ocean in the middle, and there is the ocean underneath. Which means that underneath the ocean that you see, there is also another ocean that is underneath it. Underneath the ocean that you are seeing, that you see, well, look at the sea. Wow. Underneath that ocean, billions, millions of miles and miles underneath it, there is also another ocean. And in that other ocean that is underneath it, a certain form of life, certain forms of life exist only underneath that. And that is called underneath the core of the earth. The sky above you, when you really look at the sky, when we talk about the sky is not the cloud. The sky is not the cloud. It is the sky that is above you. When you look at the sky, what do you see? You see nothing but rays of stars and all of that. But now the question you ask yourself is, how is this so? Because above you is also a vast ocean. The sky you see above is nothing but what? A vast ocean. That is a fact. Please listen to me with intelligence and not with emotion. The sky you see above you is a vast ocean, and hence it is said there is an individual called Narayan. Narayana. Nara means water. One who sleeps on top of the water. Just like you right now, me and you, we are sleeping on top, the middle water of the earth. You might be like, what? I'm sleeping in my house? I'm sleeping on the earth? No, you are sleeping upon the middle water of the earth. Even your consciousness, your consciousness, which is the soul that is inside of you, is sleeping upon the waters of your body. Now, what are the waters of your body? Your blood. Your body is the earth. But that which is carrying consciousness and life all over your body is what? Your blood. And hence it says blood is the carrier of what? Consciousness. So there is that life air that is inside of you, floating on top of the oceans of your body, which is the blood of your body. Do you know that when you lose blood, automatically you start dying? That's a fact. Have you asked yourself that? Nothing is wrong with you, but the moment you start losing blood, life starts receding out of you. Because your blood is the ocean. And hence it is said, there is that Narayan, the master and the Lord of the ocean, that is sleeping in the causal ocean that is above you. And in that causal ocean that he is sleeping, he breathes, he exhales, and he inhales. When he exhales, creation starts. And when he inhales, all creation goes back inside of his breath. Will you call it coincidence or will you call it an irony? The same thing also is the human body. When the human exhales, he brings to life a lot of tiny microcosmic organisms. He brings them to life. And the moment he inhales, all those tiny microorganisms that he has brought to life that only exist for a few seconds. Imagine from this moment you breathe out and to the moment you breathe in, how many seconds pass? Just a few seconds. From that moment, from that milliseconds or that tiny seconds where the human exhales and inhales, he brings to life some tiny organisms and he also takes back those tiny organisms, which means for the human to live, he needs to create and he needs to kill. Because you are creating life with the tiny organisms that you're breathing out of your body, but the moment you exhale it, you inhale it, you are also killing them because you need the nutrient, the sun, the rays, and the spark of life that is in them to be able to continue sustaining the earth that is your body and the ocean, which is the blood that is in your body. Now it is said, Narayan, when Narayan exhales, creation starts, because it is said humans are nothing but tiny specks. Everything in the universe is nothing but tiny specks. Above, that is a creation of the causal ocean. Are you listening to me, please? So when he exhales, life starts. And when he inhales, all life goes back inside of him. Just like, imagine those tiny organisms, that microcosmic organism that comes out of your body the moment you exhale. To them, that moment, that seconds, from that seconds of your exhaling to the second of your inhaling, is like millions and billions of years for them. To them, millions and billions and trillions of years have passed. To them. Now, to the cosmic divine being called Narayan, when he exhales and he inhales, billions and billions of life, of a human's life, civilization existed. And so you are living right now, all of you that is listening to the sound of my voice, you are only living on one exhaling. This moment you are having with me right now is only one exhaling of the breath of Narayan, Vishnu. And he sleeps on the causal ocean. And guess what? He is sleeping on the snake on the causal ocean. He is sleeping on the snake of time, because time is a snake. Humans have never asked, you've never asked yourself, how is it that time, we have these theories whereby we try to give to time. Oh, time is up and down, time is never smooth, but time is like a snake. Time is actually a snake. A snake with millions of heads. That is time. The true identity of time is that it is a snake. A gigantic snake with what? Millions and millions of heads all attached to his body. So time is a naga. So this divine being, Narayan, sleeping on the causal ocean above. Now there is a record that has always been recorded, which is this divine being, Narayan, has children that he has. Now these children are fighting for control to be the Lord of the three oceans. To be what? The Lord and Master of the three oceans. For one who can control the causal ocean above, one who can control the causal ocean, the ocean below, and one who can control the ocean underneath that which is below, is seen as the greatest. Ever ask yourself, how is it that, now many people say it is the law of gravity, but the question is, have you asked yourself, how is that the earth is floating up in the sky? That earth, where me and you, we are right now, that you are listening to me. You see, at this moment right now, the earth have spinned so fast. The earth is moving, spinning so fast. But you are not feeling it. You don't even perceive it. Because what? The illusion of gravity. But then how do you perceive the movement of the earth spinning so fast? When you are drunk. When you are drunk, the gravity level in you is reduced. When a man is drunk or when a woman is drunk, the gravity level in them is so dropped and so reduced that they can feel the element, the vibration of the earth moving, and hence you see them going like this and and twist them. Oh, he's just been drunk. No, the gravity level in the human has reduced. It is gravity that is keeping you upright, because that is the gravity that is creating the illusion to you that you are moving straight. But the earth is always moving like this. And that is why you will see a structure of a building might be here in this particular position. 150 years from now, that structure will shift to another position. Although to the mind it is still in the same position, but in location it has shifted. The crust of the earth is always shifting. Why? Because the earth is moving at a speed that is higher than the speed of light. Now, what about the other planets that are there? It is said the planet on top of that is there is floating. It is floating. And because it is floating, there is only one place something can float, and that is on top of water. Isn't it? Please corroborate with me. It is only on top of water that an object can float. Because what? The up above, the sky above you see is nothing but a vast body of water. Now, if it says that the world was under delusion, which is under the world was engorged and with waters, which means what? The water of the clouds that is above. Imagine if the water of the ocean above falls down. What is going to happen? I want you to imagine with me right now. Imagine if the water that is above falls down. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. And hence it says the world is divided into three phases, three places. The water above, the water in the middle, and the water below. And this is the fight of the gods. The gods are fighting to have control of all of this water. That is it. That is it. The gods are fighting to have control of all of this water. The water above, the water below, and the water underneath. Underneath your ocean, there is a vast ocean also. So it is illusion to think that the ocean that you see is just it. But underneath it, there is a what? There is a vast ocean. And in that vast ocean is another existence of life. It is said that humans live in a 3-dimension world. But no, humans live in a 7-dimension world. Do you understand? There is a theory that humans live in a 3-dimension world. What are the 3-dimension world? You live in the body, the dimension of the gross body. You live in the dimension of the dream body. And you live in the dimension of the mental body. These are the 3 dimensions that is being spoken about. But I say to you, humans don't live in a 3-dimension world. Humans live in a 7-dimension world. 7. And in this 7 dimensions world, existence is happening simultaneously, which means you are hearing me right now. There is another portion of your body that is in another dimension that is doing something else. And it is splitted into 7. And guess what? To corroborate this 3 dimension of causal ocean that is in the human body, there are 3 places where consciousness is at the peak in your body. There are 3 places, 3 storage of consciousness in your body. Can you guess it? If it is listen to what I said properly. Your body is the earth. The ocean of your body is what? The blood. And the soul is nothing but the air that is floating on top of the ocean of your body. And now in this body, there are 3 storage, just like you have the dam, the reservoirs, right? You have reservoirs that holds water, isn't it? In your body, there are 3 reservoirs that holds the causal ocean, which holds the blood, the ocean of your body, and releases this when one reservoir is not able to function, which means in your body there are also 3 layers of oceanic bodies in your body. Can you guess it? Can you guess?